I'm Christopher Crumley, Associate Editor at SDM Magazine, and today my guest is
Caroline Brown with Security Central.
wonderful, and congratulations on your recent appointment as CEO.
Thank you so much.
And that's sort of something that I wanted to talk with you about today. I'm curious, I guess, first of all, sort of an overview of the industry. What are some of the trends that are kind of shaping the industry, in your opinion? And in a sense, how are you trying to position the company to sort of adapt to those or capitalize on them?
Sure. So trends for the industry, I think, especially in the monitoring segment, since that's where we focus our efforts, is definitely reducing false alarms and engaging with end users in a way that they want to find some level of participation and value in a monitoring center. So it's very different than when my grandfather started over 60 years ago, when it's phone call, you're notified, and you move on. Nowadays, it's what is that best level of communication? Is that through an app the dealer is using with that vendor provider? Is that through an app we're providing? Is it a text service? There's so many different outreach ways that we can touch that customer and provide a valuable notification. And it's also, again, reducing those false alarms. So not everything is funneling through to your authorities and dispatching police, fire, medical, and trying to really promote and work on reducing those efforts of rolling those first responders, because that's a big level of importance since they face staffing challenges as well. So that's definitely a trend that we're working on and something that we're trying to provide a value add to our customers for sure.
Yeah, and a few things, whether it's monitoring or any other part of the industry. That is something I hear time and time again, is the idea that security was once like guards, guns, and gates, and that now it doesn't look anything like that anymore.
Absolutely. My grandfather would always say, so we started as more of a physical guard service company, and he would be like, I was shaking the doors and windows. So it's very interesting how that's transitioned over the years.
Right, and the other thing I wanted to sort of touch on is, can you give me a bit of a glimpse into sort of maintaining a good relationship with those first responders at the central station, I suppose, between those two?
Sure. So we try to stay involved in a lot of different committees that are out there with the industry, but also, of course, when we can outreach directly with local municipalities, we do that as well. So there's SEAC with TMA, we have the ASAP PSAP group, and all of those are valuable things. Also AVSO1, so the scoring initiative, anything we can do to work with, educate, and help reduce those alerts going into those call centers for 911, but also reducing that dispatch. We try to participate in, and again, that education surrounding it, because lots of times there's a disconnect and they may not be the biggest fans of a monitoring center, but once we say we're on the same page, we want to help you, we want to provide this valuable information. Is that more things through your CAD system? Is that more video verification events? What is that looking like? Then they let that guard down. They're like, oh, yes, let's work on these things. How can we all talk the same language? Because most of the time we're also both saying the same things. We just are saying it in different verbiage for each industry. So anytime, again, on those industry groups, but also if there's local police chief association meetings that we can get involved in and help bridge that gap, we want to do that. So we are making a good faith effort to have them as a partner and an extension of what we're doing.
Wonderful. And to kind of step back to what we were talking about just a second ago, industry looks very different now. So I suppose, what sort of technologies is Security Central sort of leveraging to improve efficiency?
Anything and everything. No, I would say, especially since COVID, but we've committed to really doing a technology overhaul in a way. So we actually just had a new CTO come on board with us 2 weeks ago, Dan Turner. He was formerly with Permar, and we're very excited to have him as part of our team. But he is a wealth of knowledge, and we have made such major strides in more infrastructure, stronger infrastructure, cybersecurity, and having him really round out those components, since we also have 3 central station locations now, and making sure everything is always top notch and ahead of the curve is a key component to our success. Another thing on the technology side is we have Matt Narowski as our VP of Operations. And a lot of times folks joke and we call him Manitou Matt since he really understands our automation platform. But that is also another key is how can we maximize things that we're developing in tandem with our automation platform to help better have efficiencies, to have better outputs with vendor integrations and product integrations. And again, just to really tie in and make everything a seamless experience. I think that's what a lot of people are looking for instead of these ad hoc layers that we're used to. Something new came out, put it in, something else, layer that. So again, more of that seamless interaction with the customer, and how can we really put them into the Security Central fold without having to worry about the other individual components.
Wonderful. And can you speak a bit to Security Central's sort of company values, core principles, things of that nature, and I guess the philosophy moving forward for sort of maintaining that company culture, if you will?
Sure. So obviously we're family owned and operated, and that's very deeply rooted in our core values and is going to continue to be part of that philosophy. So we have 5 major core values, which are integrity, diversity, people, quality, and I always skip on the 5th one, passion. Sorry. Oh, it's like the pressure when you're on the go. It's like, okay, what's that last one? Anyway, but those are very big in everything we do. So whether we're hiring, promoting, internally doing coaching sessions with our teams, the core values are really the root. And they were something that began with my grandfather. They're very important to my father, Courtney, and then now moving on. So it's something where we feel like finding the right team member, if you have that passion, you believe in doing quality work, and you're honest, you operate with integrity, you're ethical, and then you're not afraid to voice your ideas, to bringing in that diversity element, obviously then you're going to have a very successful career at Security Central. And that's something that we're just looking to expand upon and continue. The relationship aspect, again, something from the beginning of our foundation that we're going to continue on, is so critical to us, because while the technology continues to evolve, the relationship component is so key in the alarm industry, and being able to reach out and touch, whether it's our internal customers and internal team or those external dealers or vendor partners, that is a critical component. But for the future, shifting a little differently is also a big thing of incorporating this theme we've talked about of technology is a huge part of our vision, as well as we go forward in the philosophy. So a little bit less of, throughout the years, we've been called either a central station, burglar alarm monitoring, more technology monitoring, and having people educated and a little bit broader on it's not necessarily these days just burglar, fire, medical alarms. There's other events. So again, it's really more of that technology, that critical event monitoring. And so shifting our mindset of staying true to the roots, but layering on that monitoring is more than it ever has been.
Wonderful. And a few others that I'd like to tag in here.
Sure.
One of them being, can you give me maybe a broad view of what else is falling under that critical event category? The way that this is expanding out, I suppose.
Sure. So critical event, obviously, I'll mention video first. It's such a hot topic in our industry. But video, which is another way, whether you're a small business, enterprise, or even some residential, to have a different style notification and a little bit of a value add to your burglar system there. But also HVAC, water notifications, cooler, temperature alarms, agricultural alarms. Again, other notifications that people want to be aware of that are in different segments a little bit, but still packaged along that security line, have become something that's been very valuable for us.
Wonderful. And the other one is sort of, staying away from the central station term, but for other security professionals that are working in monitoring, do you have any sort of nugget of wisdom or a bit of advice or some sort of perspective that might be beneficial for them to hear?
I would say the biggest piece of advice for others in the space is to really keep a pulse and a level of engagement on your operators in that central station monitoring realm. And I say that because I call them the heartbeat of Security Central. They are the most important folks to our team. They set the tone for the day. So they're able to know, is there an issue with a certain customer? Is there an issue with a dealer? Is there a national weather event happening, or is it in a specific area? Is there a threat level? Just having a pulse on that room and knowing what's going on is so critical. And sometimes, again, it might be, like I just mentioned, event driven and how that's laying out the actions for the support team surrounding them. But other times it might be, hey, you guys have added a lot of accounts and this particular piece of software is clunky, or something isn't working right at my desktop station. But really just, again, allowing them to have a voice and some input and kind of drive some thought process is very valuable. And so we always try to really empower the operators in our central station environment. Our big theme and our marketing surrounds with elevate your monitoring. And I really believe that is true for our entire team and a focus of ours throughout the past year. So elevate with new technology, better customer service, higher standards in that customer service and quality interactions and touch points. So whether that's internally with our teams, again, or externally with the customer base, again, if you're looking for those new heights with monitoring, that's really what Security Central is focused on and all about achieving.
Caroline, thanks for making time. I really appreciate it. Super insightful.
Absolutely. I really appreciate you taking the time and having me today. So thank you so much, and hopefully we'll see you at ISC West.